Reboots can have dubious outcomes. Quite often, the reboot fails because of the refusal to create a different story built on the past successes of the previous version. There has to be some continuity between the past success and the current retelling. Other factors that contribute to a reboot's failure is the complete lack of making the new story arc interesting, as well as losing focus on the character development as well. Another unfortunate telltale sign of a failed anime reboot is the quality of the animation. Quite often, quality in-story character and animation technique suffers from the point of the reboot, to try to wring more money out of a franchise. Basically, the production company just wants to sucker fans in, trap them in a mediocre product, take the money and run, not really caring about destroying a beloved anime series. Thankfully, that did not happen with Arise. Arise is the reboot of the Ghost in the Shell franchise. So far, it's just a handful of hour-long episodes, with one episode that was released as a movie just recently. You can click the link below to see that review. And that is probably my one and biggest complaint. Like the Evangelion reboot, it is taking way too long to pump out episodes. But honestly, given the quality, I can be patient. So far, Arise is really about the creation of Section 9. The major character, as always, is Major Kusanagi, but even in Arise, the story of Section 9 is almost really her story. The other guys are making their appearances, but the story arc of each episode is centering around her. If you are a huge fan of Ghost in the Shell as I am, then you are most likely well versed with the movies, the two anime series, the original manga, and the anime and manga that precursor all of this. Yeah, that's right, there was one that came before Ghost in the Shell called Dominion Tank Police. Yes, Dominion Tank Police gave birth to Ghost in the Shell, but that's a topic for another day. The reason why I bring this up is because Ghost in the Shell was very cerebral, as any good cyberpunk story should be. There's a lot of philosophy and political ideology here that has to be understood concerning a world that has become more and more ready to leave the mortal coil and drop into cyberspace. In order for this series to make sense, you have to keep up with this stuff in Ghost in the Shell. Arise is a little bit different. It does delve into these topics, but in a more personal way from Kusanagi's point of view. There's a huge plot element found in the Ghost in the Shell manga that almost doesn't show up anywhere else, but in Arise, that is the fact that a prosthetic body can be legally owned by someone other than the person using it. That's right. That means that if you have a prosthetic body, you are a slave to the person who owns the body. That is a big motivator for what Kusanagi does and why she does what she does. At the beginning of Rise, she is owned by the unit that she served in and has no freedom of her own, literally. In Arise, she finds an opportunity for freedom and grabs it, which leads her to Aramaki, who points out to her that continued freedom rests on her ability to create a functional and privately owned security team that she can lead, a team that Aramaki is willing to contract with. The next few episodes about her creating Section 9 by finding persons very much like her, people who want freedom and self-sufficiency. As she goes through the motions, you get very short but detailed backstories of the other members of what will become Section 9. And here's where the reboot greatly succeeds in giving each character a little more than previously, viewing them with better character traits and flaws than they got in Ghost in the Shell. Batao is a lot more military, Saito has a gambling addiction, a better personality, Pazu seems more subservient and more of a private investigator than a gangster, Ishikawa is more of a hacker than a world-weary alcoholic. Boma is kind of still the same for some reason, but he's a little bit more aggressive. But Togusa, so far in Arise, has the best story because he is still a cop in Arise. His transfer hasn't fully come through yet for Section 9. Okay, as I said before earlier in the review, my biggest complaint is that the episodes are coming out fast enough. But because each episode is taken seriously in its production and storytelling, it's kind of easy to be patient. Also, the stories themselves are fresh and kind of new. They're not like the Evangelion reboot, which is the same story over and over again. So my advice to you is to get this anime and devour it. Watch it a number of times. There's a lot to this reboot, and you need to understand each episode before going to the next one. And quite honestly, there's a lot of fun in doing that. Alright, thanks again for watching. Please check out the links below, including the AMV contest link. This is the Unagi Observer. My name is Steve Gerhardt, and I will see you all next time.